I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna be a fucking emotional mess right now and trying to do this, but I really feel the need to just, I guess, stream of consciousness where I'm at with this shit. Because it's fucking wild to me. Obviously, the media is gonna fucking overly dramatize, sensationalize, and focus strictly on the negatives. So we obviously all already know that. That's just what drives clicks. That's what drives trends. That's what gets hashtags going. That's what gets them their money, their revenue, their profit. We all know that. And so obviously, mass shootings or murders or, whatever, they're going to be hyper publicized because they want to get their fucking money. Like at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with anything except for profitability and money. That's just the truth. And so obviously, these last 24 hours really have been maybe 72 at most. But I think it's 24 to 48 hours has been fucking ridiculous for it because you had that Ukrainian refugee woman who I think she was at least a resident officially legally, but not getting her citizenship, whatever. Supposedly she was either 23 or 32. I'm not sure which. I didn't really look into the specifics of that case. I did watch the video of her getting like the whole I don't know if you could call it premeditation forming or whatever in that random black dude. What is the typical fucking black guy's name? I swear to God. Um, where he just randomly, seemingly he was fine, and then all of a sudden he just randomly decides he wanted to pull out his fucking pocket knife or whatever the fuck it was and stab her in the fucking throat or face and cut her carotid, which happened, so she died. And it doesn't really matter her age, but like either way, I mean, it matters a little bit because again, you're that fucking young. Like, what the fuck? Like, you have your whole fucking life ahead of you. You have so much you could even contribute to your community and to the world or to whatever else you could give back. There's so many different fucking things and potential you have, and you're just somebody just decides they want to fucking murder you. It's fucking insane. Like she did nothing. She was just sitting there minding her own business on the chair on her phone, and he decided randomly he's gonna fucking murder her. And then you have another person, uh, or rather you have today, which is that Charlie Kirk, who already is guaranteed to grab headlines if he's, the target of an attack of any kind, because again, negativity drives clicks. And especially if they can do divisive topics, which is a tool that the government and the people really empower, which is not your politicians, they're just puppets to them, but they always weaponize all the time because, and thus via the propaganda arms when they're mouthpieces, which is the fucking mainstream media, they're going to fucking spread as much divisiveness as they possibly can. They want division. If they can pit us against each other, they're going to fucking succeed in every goal that they have, which is to try to steal as much fucking, like, so as much, cause as many problems as possible, sow as much chaos within those problems and those divisions that they can kickstart as possible, and then sell you the solution, even though they also were the ones who sold you the fucking problem in the fucking first place. The whole fucking cycle and system and steps, problem, reaction, solution, is literally fabricated and manufactured and sold and pushed on us by the fucking government. It's fucking stupid. And nobody fucking seems none the wiser. Or at least they don't want to fucking believe it. They want to live in fucking denial all the time. And it fucking pisses me off. But on top of that, again, you have another person in Charlie Kirk who, by the way, for the record, I don't think I've literally ever watched a single video of his in my fucking life. I have never fucking watched, like, all the way through, I don't think, an entire clip of him. If I have, it would have been like maybe one or two from my friend Sean, who has always liked his debate format and series or whatever, which is actually what he was doing today at Utah Valley University, where somebody took a rifle and fucking sniped him through his fucking throat. So basically, right through either it's his carotid or his jugular. I'm not sure which one he fucking managed to nick, if not literally pulverize, but he did that. And so we have video including from live stream feeds from all over the different areas, including on top of a roof, uh, probably a patio on the university or one of the, I don't know, maybe the dormitory buildings across the way, where you can literally see him get hit by a bullet, react, and then usually most of them cut off because most people started scrambling or running away, panicking, which is like really only truly a US thing, by the way. Like psychologically, US citizens have this obsession with just panicking and being the most arrogant they can be, which is that they're just simply jingoistic. They are reactionary as can be. They just knee-jerk react, and that's all they do, especially off emotional impulse. And when something shocking or stunning or terrifying like that fucking happens, people just panic and they immediately go every fucking which way. They're plowing each other down, they're knocking each other down, they're shoving each other, they're doing everything. They're literally like a fucking bunch, like a shipload of fucking rats that just got fucking discovered in the fucking cargo bay with a bunch of fucking crackers, you know, boxes or containers of crackers that they got into. And they all scurry every possible direction, climbing all over each other and everything. Nobody thinks to help for each other. Nobody thinks about anyone else. They just think of themselves, and they fucking panic and zip around and like a headless chicken. And it's fucking stupid. Whereas, including in earthquakes or anything else. Whereas, almost everywhere else in the world, they don't. They have this courtesy for each other and this concern for each other, this empathy, this compassion for each other, at least enough to be more concerned, or at least is equally as concerned about their own safety and other people, even if they're strangers, and actually do everything they can to be as calm as possible and rational as possible in their immediate response to get people the fuck out if they need to evacuate or whatever. They always do that. And instead of like they teach here with earthquakes, an example, which is get your, you know, duck and cover underneath a solid table or piece of furniture, which is actually, by the way, one of the stupidest things you can do in an earthquake, especially a major quake. The best thing you can do is what Japan teaches and all these other places like that teach. I think Greece teaches it, which is get the fuck outside and get to the most open area possible. But be calm as possible and single file about it. Don't fucking trample each other like a bunch of morons, because then there's no logistics there. It's just chaos. And there's going to be a lot more fucking victims of tragedy at that point. So everybody's panicking or whatever else. And I guess apparently some of the footage, which I have not seen, is that you can literally see him gushing out of his artery, his blood. Like, you literally see him losing his fucking life as we speak. Because obviously, literally, you have to have your blood to live. It's your literal life force, is your fucking blood. Go fucking figure. And so you're literally watching the life rupture out of him because somebody hated him that much. And it's fucking disgusting and wild and hurtful to me that there's so many people that justify it immediately. Even not only just trying to justify it immediately and try to defend the murder of somebody or attempted murder, which turned out to be a murder. No, they're actually going, a lot of them are actually literally celebrating it and cheering it on and making jokes in light because they're so happy because ding dong, the bitch is dead. What is wrong with people? Like, I know it's in human nature to be primally cruel and self-righteous and self-serving parasites. I know that. It's all human history proves that's all we are, is no fucking good parasites that are just out to fucking exploit each other and victimize each other and hurt each other and kill each other. It's fucking obvious. All of human history, all that's there is that, along with also trying to exert absolute control over everyone by any means necessary. It's fucking gruesome. We are some of the most graphically horrific, evil fucking things that have ever came to exist in this universe's infinite history. And I guarantee we will always be the most evil that's ever existed. Said fact aside, even an acknowledgement of that, there's no excuse for how much worse humanity's getting to where they are literally defending it. Saying it's good that he's dead. It's great that he fucking got murdered. There's nothing wrong with the murder. There's no, you know, and one of the most common justifications, of course, go fucking figure, is the constant, oh, he's a white nationalist, he's a Nazi, he's this, he's that. Literally, he's fucking not. At least you can say that about the Nazism. It's fucking wild to me. And by the way, if you look at the fucking background of the Nazi ideology, by the way, guess where it fucking came from, was manufactured? The fucking United States fucking government. In experiments that they were running. And it just so happened that the Nazi Germans got their hands on one of those books from the main guy behind the creation of that fucking ideology. It wasn't even German. It was fucking American. It was the United States of America's government that created and conscripted the creation of this fucked up shit that then they took on and then had to take a life of its own and got even more severe with it. And when you look at that, you're going to find out that actually, when you're the bullshit that you're pulling and the lies that you're spewing about this fucking man that you decided you fucking despise with a passion, that just got fucking murdered in front of a crowd of hundreds, maybe even over 1,000 people, and that's just the people present physically, not all the tens of thousands at least that were guaranteed watching the video clips and the live streams of it at the same time. And you're talking about all this defense for it and how it's such a great thing, or why it's celebrated, it should be celebrated, and this, that, and another thing. You're trying to justify it immediately. You're literally doing the work of exactly that Nazi ideology before it got exported to Germany. It's literally exactly a match to that bullshit that they were using in those experiments. And that they actually, by the way, continue to use a lot of that in those experiments. And in fact, you're also proving that you love eugenics. You love the idea of, oh, hey, if I personally despise with a passion this person because they say things I insist are wrong and evil and bad and dangerous, they deserve to be fucking murdered, then yeah, you are eugenics lover. You love eugenics. You want eugenics. You want to wipe out anybody who does not agree with you and your stupid viewpoints. It's fucking bullshit. I don't care what the fuck his politics were. I don't give a fuck what this man's fucking beliefs were. It is always reprehensible, and there's no words in the human language that can quantify how royally wrong, unethical, immoral, and fucked up it is. If you even dare to think, I don't care. I could care less that this man was murdered. That's a fact. You are one of the most royally toxic, fucked up, in the head human beings to ever fucking exist. You're literally, to me, no better than literally Hitler himself, Pol Pot, Augusto Pinochet. It doesn't matter. Pull any of them out of your fucking hat of excuses. That's who the fuck you are. You are exact equivalent to those people, and you are no better because you are a fucked up human being. You're no better than the murderers and the serial rapists you claim to be against. Unless, of course, they kill the people that you personally dislike and disagree with. This guy was fucking 31 years old. He's literally my exact age. And like I said, I didn't know basically nothing about him. The only thing I knew, because I'm criminally online, serially online, is the fact that you can't escape certain public figures. You can't escape his existence. He's everywhere. It doesn't matter what your feed's like, how it's curated, who you follow, what you think, what you believe, he's going to show up. It's an inevitability. So yes, I understand that he's the guy who, I knew he had something major to do with Turning Point USA, which to me has always been a very conservative and quite a light right-wing thing to me. Not far right. Again, I'm not one of those weirdos who thinks that everything has to be so severe and extreme, because it's obviously 99% of the time fucking horse shit. The point is, like, I knew that. I knew he was at least associated with it. I didn't know he was the founder of it. Apparently he is. I didn't, you know, I knew that he had a show, and I knew that he did a lot of debates, public forum wise, in person. I knew that. And I knew that he was considered far right by a lot of people. Cool. Great. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I don't know the guy. I certainly don't know him personally. I can't form an opinion on him. I don't do that. I'm not a fucking harsh judgment motherfucker because, oh, a stranger made a single tweet on Twitter and now I have a full picture of exactly who that person is, what they represent, what they believe, how they feel about things. And if they say and deny it, well, then it just proves me wrong or right, and that they don't know who the fuck they are at all. Only I, a stranger, can know who you are, which is rampant. It's fucking stupid as fuck how people are. He's literally my age. He's 31. even in the US, the fact that the average age, I think currently that people live to, if they're a man, is 75, I think currently. It's one of the lowest in the world, actually, hilariously. Because welcome to America, apparently, home of such great healthcare and everything, and, advanced education and everything else to where, best quality of life, right? Is that why we're one of the worst in the world in terms of lifespan, including for women, but especially men? I don't know. Maybe you should use your last fucking brain cell and figure out how to make it function again and use it correctly to determine if that's actually true or not. The point is it's fucking stupid because, like, if that's the case, he still had like 65% of his life to live. If he managed to eat healthy, keep himself, consistently active, was able to be healed and like mentally and emotionally stable and genuinely healthy and happy and able to be able to like ignore and block out and not let the energy, all the negative energy of all this hate and all these other people out there in the world the dude easily could live to 90 plus. I know a lot of people, including my family, who had a load of comorbidities and a lot of health issues, and they still managed to fucking live with a fully intact mind, by the way, and fully physically active and capable of taking care of themselves, well past 90. Multiple. My great-grandmother from Ukraine literally fucking had one lung for over half her life because of chronic smoking. And she still managed to live to 103. Like, it's fucking stupid. My grandma, on my mom's side, had so many health issues because Scandinavians are unfortunately loaded with that genetically. But also, she had diastolic heart failure. She had a bunch of stuff for years, and she still was more than fully functional mentally and still fully functional in terms of taking care of herself. She would have had no problem with that. And she did have no problem with that until the day she died, which she was, I believe, 93. Like, it's, again, the point being, you can have all the health issues in the world and you can still live a relatively happy, relatively healthy, so to speak, overall, self-sufficient life. You can take care of yourself, through your 90s. It's entirely possible. It's not that uncommon. I know a lot of other people who did, actually. Ralph Steadman is somebody that I knew as a kid, and he lived to 94, 95, I think. And he had really bad diabetes. He had club feet. He was always in a wheelchair. He wasn't active. He, despite being diabetic, was very naughty, and he loved to fucking eat and sneak in himself tons of, like, he had all these little stashes of candy and other sweets everywhere. The dork. But he knew what made him happy, and he still managed to live through all of that despite it, and having heart issues. Very happily, actually, and he was still mostly self-sufficient. So, like, all the way through to his death in 94, 95. Like, again, I have so many different examples I could give. So, again, in this case, Charlie Kirk easily could have lived to 80 plus, 90 plus. He could even live to 100, you never know. And so, and if that's the case, it's anywhere between 55 and, like, 60, or what is it, like, 45, I think, in 60 years. 60, 65 years. This guy could have still had in front of him. He had his kids. He had his wife. He had people in his life that relied on him, that supported him, that loved him, genuinely loved him, cared for him. Like, and yet people are trying to still defend his murder. Like, as if, and celebrate it even, as if it's this great thing. It's fucking insane to me. Especially considering, again, it's all over the fact that they decided he needed to die because they didn't like what he believed. It's literally that simple. That's all it is that, oh, I hate him because I don't like how he talks. I don't like what his thoughts are. I don't like what his beliefs are and his views are. And I find it dangerous. Therefore, he must die. And so they murdered him. Premeditated murder. And people defend that because they genuinely think that he was a reprehensible person because he believed things that they thought were reprehensible. Which is disgusting. I mean, there's so much hypocrisy in that too, because, like, oh yeah, no, it totally justifies it. Oh, does it? Really? Okay, so then what about all the people on the far right, the actual far right, who despise you with a passion, see you as a massive danger, especially to their children with all the transgender and the DEI bullshit, What if they decided to start justifying murdering you? And they did murder you. Is it justifiable? Oh, right. No, suddenly it's not. It's so unjustifiable. And it proves how evil these people are, because there's no excuse for murder. Unless it's a CEO of a healthcare insurance corporation who defrauds people and denies them healthcare and lets them die because it's not profitable for these people that they let die. It's justifiable if you believe things that people think are far right. But it's suddenly never justifiable to kill or murder anybody, and it's so evil and reprehensible if somebody like a MAGA person decides you need to be dealt with, and they decide to premeditate and murder you. Or say, I don't know, murder Rachel Maddow if she's in a public state. Or let's say fucking, I don't know, Jay Inslee. Or fucking Nancy Pelosi. If they did that, you would be fucking all of a sudden talking about how it's absolutely inexcusable, it's reprehensible, it's not okay. It just shows how hateful they are, and it's inexcusable, and that they are the group of hate, and you are the group of love and acceptance. Even though, if it happens to somebody who you see is opposition to you, like Charlie Kirk, somebody you see as far right, all of a sudden you have every justification in the world to excuse the murder of him. You are a massive fucking hypocrite, and you are just as bad as every other murderer that's ever existed, every serial killer that's ever existed, every dictator that's ever existed, every genocidal maniac that's ever happened in this earth. You are literally equally as bad. And that is not an opinion. That is a blatant fact. Very provable via just simple observation. Look at yourself in the fucking mirror when you defend this. And then, God forbid, somebody goes and decides that because they hate the fucking political ideology and the views and the stances and the policies of insert left-wing politician here, like a Nancy Pelosi or a fucking Gavin Newsom or whatever, they deserve to die. And then they can murder them. And you will absolutely have to look at yourself in the mirror again, and you'd have to reconcile that you are the biggest fucking most disgusting hypocrite in the world, with no logic to back you up and everything wrong with you to back you up. You are a fucked up human being. And it's disgusting that we have to deal with your existence on this earth. It's that simple. And of course, people hear that, they're gonna be like, well, that obviously means that you obviously probably want to kill us. No. Nobody fucking deserves to die. Literally. I believe that, and to such a deep level of my very being, that it doesn't matter how much somebody pisses me off and offends me and how much I could not disagree with them more. You know, they can make my blood boil because they're the most arrogant fucking prick in the fucking world. And I, no matter how intensely I want to beat them up black and blue, potentially to the brink of their life, I would never do it because I am not my fucking emotions. I'm not my fucking feelings. I have morals and ethics, and unlike you, they're fucking permanently rigid. They are immovable. You can never do that. It is literally martyr level of rigid, immovable. That's where my morals and ethics are. And nothing will ever change them. Which is how morals and ethics are fucking supposed to be. They're not supposed to be fluid or adaptable. Morals and ethics are supposed to be eternally permanent. So no, I wouldn't fucking do it. And I wouldn't defend somebody if they did do that. Go fucking figure. It makes sense. I absolutely hate people like Jeremy Renner. Because he's the one of the most arrogant pieces of shit in the world, and he's victimized tons of people, and we have it on fucking video now. Like, it's fucking disgusting. I hate people like that. They make my blood fucking boil. They genuinely make me want to beat them to an inch of their fucking life. But I would never fucking do that because I am in control of my own fucking actions, and I am not I'm not controlled by my fucking emotions. That's just a fact. I'm not fucking stupid enough or complacent enough or lazy enough to try to act like, oh no, you know, I did something reprehensible, but I can defend it because they're evil people. No, absolutely fucking not. There's a reason why I'm not just anti-war, I'm anti-military. I'm anti-armed forces. And that's universally. That's not just the US. That's literally anti-military, anti-armed forces. as in universally. There's a reason why I'm entirely anti-death penalty, and I always have been and always will be, because no one fucking deserves to die. And the moment that you try to justify it, you have stooped to the level of the fucking serial killer. You have stooped to the level of the genocidal maniac. You have stooped to the level of an Adolf Hitler, of a Pol Pot, of a Augusto Pinochet, of a US government. You have stooped to the level of the most heinous people in the fucking world. I don't know any serial rapists, so I can't throw those names out, those names out. But if you know of one, just think of them. You are no better than them. That is not, again, an opinion. That is a literal, observable, and provable fact that is easily verified just by observing, just by interacting. It's disgusting. And that is also, actually, I guess you should say it's equally opinion as it is fact. Because it is absolutely both. And yeah, that's how I feel about that. That's why I'm against all of that. And I always will be. That's why if a draft happens, I am going to force them into an ultimatum. You either kill me on the fucking spot, or you pretend I don't exist, and you leave me the fuck alone. You do not have a choice either way. And either way, you get nothing that you want, or you expect, or you demand. It's literally, you are going to fucking kill me, or you are going to just pretend I'm not there. And it's as simple as that. And I will literally martyr myself for that. Because that's how important morals and ethics and compassion for people are. Because again, nobody, no matter how evil they are, deserves to die. I sincerely believe that. And it's so fucked up. Because another aspect to this that I think is so fucked up is the fact that all these same people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk being premeditated, murdered in public, in front of hundreds, if not 1,000 plus people, and even if they're not necessarily celebrating, but they're trying to defend it and justify it, you need to remember this. These are the exact same motherfuckers who, just a day prior, were losing their minds and just so caught up and gut-wrenched by the senseless murder of Iryna, that Ukrainian girl on the bus, by that black man. Like, there is no difference between them. There genuinely is not. They're equally as evil and nonsensical and reprehensible and wrong and bad and evil and immoral and unethical and unforgivable. They're equally so. But yet you're the same fucking people who are celebrating or justifying the premeditated murder of Charlie Kirk for his views, while being all caught up and gut-wrenched about Iryna being murdered senselessly and coldly just as much, and premeditated clearly just as much. Because again, the footage shows this dude thought about it and then he decided to go through with it. That's premeditation, plain and simple. It's fucking bullshit. Neither of these people should have fucking been murdered. Neither of them should have died. Neither of them. It's so fucking stupid. It's like a lot of times if you look at these people trying to justify it and defend it, they will pull the same shit. And I am very anti-Israel in the sense of their government. I am extremely fucking against them. I am not against Israelis. They're just like everyone else in the world. They're just trying to fucking get by. They're just trying to live their fucking lives as normally as possible and get by day to day. That's all they're fucking trying to do. They are not their fucking government. I don't care what the fuck you say. You are wrong unless you agree with that statement. It's just a fucking fact. Not ever an opinion. It's exclusively fact. It is fucking disgusting how much people try to insist that it's not a fact when it literally fucking is. And God forbid until you fucking get attacked in your home in a war, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's reprehensible. It's not acceptable. Please help us. Probably no one's going to help you either because of what the fuck you just said, which is that it's defensible because no, it's not at all the same. It is literally the same. They're not their fucking government. Stop conflating people with their government, the people of a country with their government in their military. It's never okay because they are nowhere near the same. The government is there to exploit you and to throw you away like a piece of fucking trash, to let you die, to use it as a meat shield and a weapon in war. That is it. You have no other purpose than to be exploited by your government. It has always been that way. It always will be that way. That's how the whole world works. If you think for a second that somehow you can therefore conflate the government with their people, you are fucked up in the head. You are so fucked up in the head, and you are all but guaranteed you're gonna fucking win a Darwin Award pretty quick, because you are wildly oblivious to the obvious. And if you are that oblivious, likely it is you're actually choosing to be blind to it. You're turning a blind eye because it's so much more comfortable and convenient to deny reality, because reality's royally fucked up. Set back aside. People are trying to justify Israelis being murdered or Jews being murdered because their government is a piece of fucking genocidal shit. They're no better than Hitler and the Nazis, and they literally are exact equivalents. It's one of the most ironic things to me that they were created by the US, by Britain, primarily, post-World War II, in direct response to Nazi Germany, and their attempt at eradicating Jews from existence. So they said, here, let's give them their own country. Except technically the actual real documentation and the real legal agreements of the formation of the country was that it was 50-50 split. And half of the land of what we call Israel today was actually Palestine. And the other half was fucking Israel. So half was for the Jews, half was for the Muslims. Although that could open a whole different topic because in can of worms, because obviously that shows why religious, cultural, ethnic fucking prioritization and segregation of societies and of nations is absolutely a bad idea. But then that was the entire point of why they fucking formed it, because they knew when they formed it, they had to make sure it was going to be as unstable as possible, it was going to have as much conflict as possible, because that way they always had the excuse to maintain their military bases there and maintain their fucking presence and maintain their puppeteer control over the state, because that's what they do. All post-colonial nations were intentionally invented specifically to, and drawn, their borders are drawn specifically and very intentionally to cause as much internal conflict and instability as possible. That's the fucking entire point. So that they could always make sure they have the excuse to involve the military and have their military bases present, when in reality is really just so that they can use them to abuse those people, abuse their countries, and fucking exploit the shit out of them and their resources. Which is all that's ever happened. Insert fucking Iraq, insert Iran, but especially Iraq and other weaker nations that never really had a chance to form a strong enough government and economy to actually be able to fucking function, basically, in a strong enough manner that they could handle themselves and defend themselves against that fucking bullshit and purge it out. Plus, if you try to purge it out, like Iraq did in 2001, 2 weeks before 9/11, well, we all know what happens after that. You get fucking slaughtered, because how dare you switch from the US dollar to the petrol, or from the US dollar, aka the petrol dollar, to the euro in your trading of your oil and your resources. You don't do that, because we have the fucking control and monopoly over your country, your people, and your resources, and we are going to slaughter you in cold, sadistic blood and bludgeon you until you give in and you give us full control back of all your resources again, and you start selling back in US dollars. You do not fuck with us. And that is how the countries fucking work. It's fucking stupid. Getting somewhat sidetracked. The point is that people are trying to use this as a justification and say, oh, well, yeah, that's how that is. And it's bullshit, because, like, at that point, it's kind of like the people who try to defend Israel, saying, oh, it's a defensive war, including bombing fucking Doha and Qatar, which makes no sense, because it was unprovoked. They did nothing to them. They had no escalation. They had no fucking words exchanged. And they're just like, oh, here's the magic fucking phrase. Hamas had fucking operatives hiding here, so that's why we had to do it. And that totally justifies us bombing a country in a city that, by the way, did nothing. And therefore we deserve to get off scot-free. No, you don't. But here's the thing. That means if that's really how this goes, and the world just accepts it like that and defends it and say, well, they're right there, then so easily they could just use Brunei next. They could literally bomb the shit out of Brunei, it out of oblivion, knowing it's isolated, it's on fucking Borneo, nobody really remembers it even exists in the first place, it's a Muslim majority, and it's highly restricted against most tourism, because again, they're highly self-protective and insular. And That means, of course, there's even less eyes and less attention and less memory that this place exists, which makes it the perfect hideout, kind of does, for people that are Islamic extremists, like, say, you know, uh, what they claim is Hamas, or whether you also claim it's ISIS, or you claim it's, what is it called, Boko Haram, or it's fucking Al Qaeda, whatever else. The fact is, it doesn't matter what you claim, as long as you claim that, use the magic phrase of insert fucking, terrorist group operatives here, hiding here, phrase. It's a magic phrase that, password apparently, that just allows you to indiscriminately bomb anywhere you want. And they could easily do that and claim that with fucking Brunei. Because again, it's kind of basic logic and deduction, right? What makes a perfect place for somebody who is Islamic and is an extremist to hide? Pretty much exactly how the fucking Brunei works and is, and everything about it. All of its attributes fit perfectly. So I actually would not be surprised if in the future the IDF in Israel and fucking Netanyahu go and try to claim that, bomb them and then claim that, oh, well, that they were hiding there because it's such a perfect place. And people would, of course, even more fervently defend it because when they find out that, oh yeah, Brunei, I forgot they exist. And then they look at their track record of how insular they are and locked down they are and everything. Yeah, no, they're going to be like, that makes it perfect. And it makes perfect sense. Of course they did. So this time I do trust it. It's fucking stupid. Because if that's the case, then they could just as equally literally bomb the shit out of fucking New York City, New York, or fucking Toronto, Ontario, or fucking, Los Angeles, California, right? They could easily fucking Seattle, Washington. They could do that indiscriminately just by using the magic password and phrase of there was Hamas operatives hiding there. That's why we are justified in doing this. Yet still claiming that it's because it's out of their own self-defense for their people and their country, which obviously doesn't fucking work because it's not your fucking country and they did nothing to provoke you. Therefore, it doesn't matter if they really are there. You have no right to fucking bomb the shit out of that fucking community. It doesn't fucking work like that. It never fucking has. It's literally an international fucking war crime. And it is it's literally at the level of some of the worst war crimes to have ever been committed in the world's history on record. Because obviously there's a load that have never been reported and thus are never been on record that fucking happened. And they're probably even worse than the worst on that list. But that's the reality of it. It's fucking stupid. It's so fucking dumb. And that's the mentality, and that's the supposed rationale that these fucking, it's literally the exact equivalent that what these fucking people are using to defend the murder of Charlie Kirk. It's the dumbest thing. It's also like wildly like middle school, high school gossip level insults is what they're trying to use for justification of saying, oh, fucking Nazi, fucking racist, fucking bigot, fucking this, fucking that, fuck. Are you in fucking 6th grade or something? Or 9th grade? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's fucking stupid. I think one of the worst things for me that makes it even harder for me to handle is the fact that, well, just because it shows how no compassion exists in this fucking world and people anymore, and no fucking ethics or morals exist at all, because they're so fucking overly ambiguous that they may as well not exist in the first place. But I also have my fucking own brother. My fucking brother is just shrugging it off and making jokes out of it and acting like it's not a big deal. Why? Oh, because literally the exact keywords that everyone else has been using and we've seen them use, which is, he's a Christian white nationalist bigot Nazi who is a Trump cocksucker. What the fuck does it say about my brother? No, seriously, what does it fucking say about him? And how am I supposed to fucking grapple with that? How am I supposed to digest that? How am I supposed to accept that? How am I supposed to handle that shit? How? It's my blood. It's my fucking brother. Somebody I love half to death. He's fucking hilarious. Overall, usually he's a pretty great guy. Where the fuck is this hypocrisy coming from? Because, like, on the front of, like, say, the trans stuff, he loses his mind with me because I'm so anti-DEI and I genuinely believe trans is exclusively a dire mental health crisis. It's a crisis of identity. That's all it is. AKA, you do have a cure somewhere. You have to fucking basically reverse engineer step by step, go all the way back to when it started to be able to help them cure themselves of their crisis. But no, all of a sudden it's like, no, even biology proves that it's real. No, it fucking isn't. But like, it's the stupidest thing, because then at that point he loses his mind with me, because he's like, oh well, you're such a transphobe, you're such a far right bigot, you're go fucking suck Trump's cock or whatever else. And it's the dumbest fucking stupid thing, because he gets so caught up and hurt, and he gets so like, he literally cries sometimes because he's like, I can't handle how bigoted you are, like you don't share my views about trans people and DEI and whatever. He literally gets emotionally cut up because his empathy and his compassion thing comes out. But then if you flip it around politically, sociopolitically, and now it's Charlie Kirk, who he views as this far-right bigot, doesn't care. Literally has zero fucking emotion. He probably actually is slightly happy about it. I'm willing to guarantee he's slightly happy about it. And the worst part is I kind of figured that would be his response. And it is. It's so wildly hypocritical. And here's even more reason why that shit cuts me up, that he's like that. And I don't know how to handle that, because, or what the fuck to think now. Because, like, again, Charlie Kirk is literally my exact fucking age, or I guess now was, past tense, my exact age. I am 31. Apparently he's 31. On top of that, my brother claims that I am a far-right weirdo. Which is hilarious, because actually my right-wing uncle, Merrill, genuinely believes I am a far-left nutjob communist snowflake. While my brother thinks I'm a far-right MAGA dick-sucking conservative nutjob. Who wants a theocracy in place, even though he knows I'm probably atheist. It's fucking stupid. And it's like, what? But because of that, and because he views me closer to Charlie Kirk than he does other people, if he doesn't give a shit about Charlie Kirk, and in fact he's willing to make jokes about it, and he actually thinks it's good that he's been wiped off the fucking census by some premeditated murderer. Not only was it say about him, but what does it say about him if, say, something like that happened to fucking me? If I fucking go out there, I become prominent enough public figure, which is unlikely to happen, but say he does. If that fucking transpires, and people know that I'm a very outspoken, expressive person, as private and otherwise introverted as I am, I'm a very hyper-expressive person. It's such an important thing to me. Like, literally, I get sick to my stomach and my heart feels funny if I don't fucking say what I want and need to say. Might be my autism. I have no fucking clue. But, like, either way, because of that, and I express things like the anti-DEI thing, and the fact that the absolutely is clearly a factual case that all transgenderism is, or gender fluidity or gender dysphoria, is entirely a mental health issue and crisis. And people hear that, and I become a big enough fucking figure, and people know that. I just get fucking murdered, premeditated. I get fucking assassinated out in public because I have wrongthink. What is my brother's response going to be? If he responds this way to somebody like Charlie Kirk, and he views me the way he does, how the fuck does that guy view me getting basically the Charlie Kirk treatment? Genuinely, you have to grapple with that and have to consider that. Because, is he going to be a hypocrite? Like, seriously, is he going to be a massive fucking hypocrite about it? Because all of a sudden, I'm his blood, I'm his brother, we've spent a lot of time together, I love him, he loves me, and now I've been murdered for my views and stuff. Is he going to be a massive hypocrite and be like, I'm devastated, I'm caught up, I'm crying, this is fucking terrible, this is reprehensible, this is not okay, or whatever else? Or is he going to give me the Charlie Kirk treatment and say, no, well, he was a bigot anyway, who gives a shit? Because you cannot have it both ways. You cannot be a hypocrite. In this situation, it's literally impossible to be a true hypocrite. Because you can't fucking be so morally and ethically ambiguous. Compassion being so incredibly like the world's largest asterisk smashed up into crushing the fucking word of empathy and compassion into a fucking dust pile of crumbs of what once was the squiggles that make the words, because that's how many terms and conditions apply. That's how much harsh judgment has to be applied in order to give any shred of empathy or compassion to somebody, because you don't like what they fucking think, you don't like what they believe, you don't like what they say. It's fucking bullshit. It's so fucking wrong. And again, like, that's something I now have to grapple with, is this fucker is proving he doesn't give a shit. He has such moral and ethical ambiguity. He has such fucking ambiguity and like wishy-washy, highly erratic fucking and unstable fucking, you know, considerations for more and I guess apparently check boxes you have to check off for receiving any shred of empathy or fucking compassion from him. It's fucking insane to me. It just doesn't fucking work. Like, you can't fucking say, oh yeah, that's horrific, but this is fine because I didn't like him. You can't fucking do that. You just can't. It's so fucked up. You have to be so twisted in the head and have a pretty dark heart if that's how you work. And I have to fucking now grapple with that and try to understand it and try to accept it and try to deal with it, because I'm going to forever now have this like wound or scar inside of me because that's my brother and I love him to death, and yet he's a dick about it. And like, literally, like, he sees me more similar to him than he would fucking, I don't even know who to think of. I genuinely don't, because I don't know his opinions on certain left-wing people, like, or politicians. Like, I don't know, or figures. Like, it's fucking stupid. This isn't desensitization at all. This is far more pernicious and sinister than that. It is no longer just simply being desensitized. It is, I don't know the right word for it. It's basically almost like a form of encouragement. It's not the right word, but the closest I can think of right now is like, it's like they feel internally, they feel somewhat happy and encouraged or proud. They have a certain level of pride now that spawns depending on who it is that gets fucking assassinated or murdered. It's fucking weird. I don't get it. I just don't. You know? It's so fucked up, the world we live in now. You know? I hurt for Charlie's kids, man. I really do. I really fucking... It's tormenting to think about how tormented they will be now. And how they will have to watch their dad literally gush blood to death in public. Because... yeah, and see that people genuinely celebrate it. And they're happy about their dad getting fucking killed in public in cold blood that they have to witness. And they have to know that. They have to live with that for the rest of their fucking life without a fucking parent. Which, by the way, it is so fucking important to have both of your parents in your life consistently. I don't just mean in your life as in, oh, well, dad's a breadwinner and mom's the fucking stay-at-home wife. No, I mean like literally it's so imperative for the parents to genuinely both together and independently spend time with their kids at all stages of their lives. It's so fucking important to always be there. It doesn't matter if you're physically there. It doesn't mean you're there. And that there's genuinely a big difference there. And I know that from personal experience too, because I have a massive gap in my heart and I struggle with it off and on, where I genuinely have the exact problem that kids who grow up without a dad in their life have. Even though my dad was technically there, he really wasn't. He was physically present in the house. Good for him. But he wasn't there with me. He wasn't there for me. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't support. He didn't care. He was highly fucking abusive and controlling. It's fucking stupid. So I literally know what it's like to have no real dad. I had a father, aka sperm donor, but I didn't have a dad. I never fucking had that. And it's fucked me up. I'm still going to therapy for that and so many fucking other things. But I had experience growing up in that fucking family, in this family and in that house. It's fucking stupid. It is so fucking important to have both of them there. And to actually have them give a fuck. And to actually care. And to actually want to spend time with you and show and make the effort. Like, I am going to dock some of my own pay by taking a day off of work. Even though we are strained financially, because most people are, right? I'm going to do that because it's more important that I care for you and I give you my time as you grow up because I fucking love you and I want to fucking show how much I do. And I want to fucking be there for you. I want to be there for every step, every major milestone. I want to be there for every lesson you learn, every fuck up you make. I want to be there for every thing you laugh at. I want to be there for everything. I want to be by your side. I want to make sure that I'm there for you and that you know I'm always there for you. And if something traumatic to you happens, I don't know what it could be. Maybe you fucking witness a murder in public at a debate forum. I'm going to be there. I don't care how much money I lose because I don't care if I risk losing my job. I don't care if I get fired for it because I'm expected to be there from 9 to 5 every fucking day. And if I don't do that and I don't, I just say I'm gone, it doesn't matter to them. They're going to fire me. I'm okay with that. I'll find another job. No matter how long it takes, I'll do that because I need to be there for you. That's how real fucking parents work. That's what's important. That's how it's supposed to fucking go. Yes, you are supposed to be their friend, their best friend. You're not supposed to be your kid's best, just your kid's best friend. You're supposed to be their educator. You're supposed to be their guardian. You're supposed to be their protector. You're supposed to be their educator, so their teacher. You're supposed to be there to hold their hand if they need it. You're supposed to be there to hold them physically, like hug them or whatever if you need it. If they need it, you're literally supposed to be there for them 24 fucking 7. There's nothing more important than being there for your kids as a parent. That's your literal fucking job. And they're not going to have their dad. And again, they have to deal with the trauma of not just knowing he was murdered, but now, and for out of hatred, because he didn't have the right way of thinking or believing, apparently, he didn't have the right politics, and they're going to have to live with having to relive watching their dad gush blood out of his fucking artery, out of his throat, because somebody hated him that much. And they have to live knowing that they're never going to have their dad again. That he was murdered and that people celebrated it and will continue to always celebrate it and will love it and will, or at least very least justify it and try to support it and think it's okay, it's good, it's positive, it helps everyone supposedly. How the fuck are you supposed to live with that and grapple with that as a kid? Let alone no matter how old you live to. You could live to 43, you could live to 106. It doesn't fucking matter. That's always going to be trauma. That's going to have permanent imprint in your head. And you're always going to have to be around people knowing that there's always a chance that somebody there might do the same to you or to your mother. They might do let alone that they might be somebody who doesn't actually care that your dad particularly got murdered because he was a piece of shit, apparently. It's fucking stupid. It's so stupid. It's literally no different than if somebody fucking got in a fight with each other because they were mocking each other because one of them was at a Chick-fil-A and another one was at a KFC and a third one was at Popeyes, and they're like, you fucking don't know what real chicken is. I do. Mine is correct. Yours is wrong. Yours is overpriced garbage. Mine is fucking amazing. And then, like, literally they get into a fucking knife fight and they kill each other because you had the wrong fucking opinion of fried chicken places. It's fucking, literally it's equivalent. It's fucking stupid. Like, that's at the level that people are trying to justify this with. Is, oh yeah, because of the difference, and I hate their belief and their opinion, they must die. Or at the very least, I don't care that they did die. That they did get killed. Because I think the world's a better place without their opinions. It's fucking disgusting. Also, there's always the chance that one of his kids actually becomes an extremist and actually does something terrible. There's also equally as much of a chance, if not slightly more, that one or two or both of his kids will fucking kill themselves at some point. They'll commit suicide because of how devastated they'll be, how fucking fucked up they're going to be permanently from this. And knowing that at any moment they could get cold from this earth for the same reasons. Their mom could, their relative, their friends could. Let alone that at any moment they could end up interacting with or befriending somebody, not realizing that they actually celebrated their father's murder. Like, there's so much more than even I've mentioned that they have to fucking grapple with as they grow up, and then their whole fucking life. And I would not be surprised if in 20 to 30 years we find out one of his kids, if not both of them, killed themselves because of the world, the state of the world, and their peers in this country. It's just beyond comprehension. But it's just human nature being human nature, and that's the worst fucking part of it. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. You know, and then on the other hand, I also deal with my friend Sean, who is the guy who really was kind of a fan of Charlie Kirk and enjoyed watching his stuff a lot, and especially more lately than ever. He's been showing more stuff lately than ever, which is kind of funny to me. I haven't really paid attention too much, but yeah. And after we talk about it, and he's like, anyway, man, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take a nap. I'm beat. I'm not going to lie. That affected me and impacted me pretty deep, too, because I'm like, how in the fuck can somebody just be like, oh, A, be a fan of this person, too, know everything that happened, the full details and everything, and just be like, but it's fine. I'm going to go take a nap now. Like, everything's the most normal thing in the world. How do you decompartmentalize that? Seriously, how do you fucking just separate yourself completely and be like, it happened, oh well, life goes on. Anyway, how do you do that? Seriously, how the fuck do you do that? Especially if you are somebody who's very familiar and are a big fan of his stuff. In what world does that make sense? I don't get it. I wanted to fucking bawl. And he's just like, I'm gonna take a nap. Like, it's another fucking day. It's another fucking Wednesday. Like any other. It's fucking wild to me that that's where people are. That they could just be like... I don't know if it's just desensitization or if, again, that's something more pernicious and sinister. It's deeper, but like, people literally can just continue as if nothing happened. What the fuck is wrong with you? I genuinely believe you have to have something wrong with you and fucked up inside of you if you can just not care enough to where you just are unaffected. You're like, oh well. Anyway, oh well, so sad. Anyway, you know, like the fucking Jeremy Clarkson, which I fucking think is hilarious. But, you know, the famous clip where he's like, oh no. Anyway, you know, and you can do that to things like he did, Jeremy Clarkson did. Totally fine. But if it's something like this, you can't fucking just get away with doing that. Because that shows how fucked up in the head you are. Like, what? The fuck? And obviously, you know, you feel for his wife too for the same reason. And then obviously you still have the Iryna gal because, again, she's relatively recent to the country. From Ukraine. You know, escaping the war there. Which I guarantee the U.S. is also using as another proxy, just like Israel and Palestine and everywhere else. And in Britain. France, probably. And she probably barely knows anybody. You know? And she's just going about her life normally. She's minding her own business. Curled up on a bus seat, you know, and on her phone, just getting to wherever she's trying to go. You take all that in, and then you realize you've just been fucking stabbed. And or you had your fucking artery in your throat cut. And the people literally next to you and around you don't seem to give a fuck. And nobody's trying to help you. Nobody's immediately concerned for you or anything. That is going to be infinitely more terrifying. And devastating. It's going to be so gut-wrenchingly horrid to you because... I can't even imagine what that's like to experience that. And then knowing you're literally dying. You're probably going to die. You know, they realize you are dying and you're going to die. On a bus. In an unfamiliar country. Just murdered because you existed. Apparently. Like, or I don't know, maybe the guy saw her phone and saw her writing Cyrillic and thought, oh, Russian asset. Doesn't justify it. Actually, it makes it worse, I would say. Because then it shows how racist and prejudiced that fucking guy is. He's actually a true bigot at that point. Like... It makes me want to cry. It really does. It makes me want to fucking cry. Because I'm very hurt by it. Like, it hurts my fucking soul. It cuts me up inside to my very core. To know that this is the world today. Like, this is where we are. And I knew it was, but like, just to see it in live time in action. Somebody that's a complete stranger that I never met, I never knew. He didn't know I existed. I barely knew he existed. I'm not supposed to care because of that? Fuck you. Go to hell. You are a fucked up piece of shit if you feel that way. It's the same thing with like Robin Williams. Like he was the first person I ever just started. I just found myself instantly bawling my eyes out over. I don't even know why. I never met the guy. I didn't even really watch anything from him. I was familiar with Patch Adams and Mr. Doubtfire primarily from him. I knew he was one of the lead guys in fucking Dead Poets Society, but I never had seen that. I knew that he was always suffering. He was deeply depressed person. And yet he always put on his best face, and he always showed he genuinely gave so much fucks for everything and everyone around him. He was one of the most teddy bear, gentle, pure souls. And that hurts my soul. And I just want to hug him, you know? And at the time it happened, I was bawling, and I'm like, I really feel like somehow he was like a father figure to me, which makes no sense, obviously, everything given. But it is. It still makes me want to cry. I will admit that there's probably literally tomorrow is 9/11, right? And I'll be doing my typical routine that I've been doing for years now, a tradition, which is to post 9/11 jokes, a bunch of fucking memes, because I think it's fucking funny. And I'm sure that makes me a massive hypocrite, just as big of a hypocrite to a lot of other people, because thousands of people died. Part of me in that, and again, it's probably just my weird autistic brain, but part of me genuinely is passionate about that because it's like a weird redemption or a weird vindication for everyone who died and everyone who suffered and all the poor souls who've been stupidly so gullible and stupid that they actually immediately bought the fucking fabricated footage from inside the hijacked supposed planes and the fabricated footage with the planes crashing, which did not exist, and then the whole government narrative, aka it's like a vindication for that because I know what really happened. It was 100% the government fucking attacked itself in a false flag because they were fucking pissed off, as I actually aforementioned in this video, that Iraq and Iran had switched from the euro, or sorry, switched from the petrodollar, aka the US dollar, in their trading of their resources, which is pretty much exclusively oil and petroleum-based products, to the euro. 2 weeks before 9/11 happened. They did that. And mind you, the government had zero fucking war support from the citizenry, from us peasants, from us serfs in the country. Nobody was about supporting another war because we had just been nonstop war constantly. We had already been lied to about Vietnam. Everybody knew that by that point. Everyone was still livid about it. There's still to this day Vietnam veterans who are so royally fucked up from what they had to do and what they were forced to do and what they were had to endure and witness. Even though technically they had a fucking choice, which was not to fucking do as they were told, and they did the fucking sadistic, fucked up war crime shit anyway because apparently they decided they didn't have a brain and they didn't have autonomy. They fucking always do. It's a different story. The point is like, see, all of it, right? All of it is fucking pissing people off. And so people they're exhausted and they're like, no more wars. But that happened 2 weeks before 9/11. And so what is false flags literally specifically made for? And invented by the US, by the way, false flags. What are they made for? To fabricate citizen war support when you do not have any, or you have bare minimum that is not remotely close to enough to be able to justify declaring a war with taxpayer money, and thus the fucking citizens of your country, because the ones who are there that are going to fucking die. and be traumatized. They have to have a supposed justification for it. Nobody was going to believe any justification, so why not make some big fucking false flag attack on themselves in the biggest city in the country, one of the biggest cities in the world, and one of the biggest financial hubs in the world, and claim it was fucking this terrorist Islamic group from Iraq, so that way they have an excuse to go and decimate the country and all of its people. In reality, because they fucking spurned their monopoly and they effectively kicked the US's monopoly out and their power and control over the country and their resources out completely simply by switching to the euro. And you don't do that. As I said before, you do not fuck with that because they will fucking kill you. They will slaughter you without hesitation. Which is exactly what happened. They proved that point. That they were bludgeoning them half to death, and they was damn near fucking made the country stop existing. Why? Because the U.S. lost their profitability off of their control of their resource, oil. And they were pissed. And you don't fuck with that. Because they will make you pay. And that's how the world works. And it's fucked up. But, because they had switched to that, 2 weeks before 9/11, you damn well know the U.S. immediately started fabricating a plan for a false flag attack to fabricate war support. Because also, 1 week later, aka a week before 9/11 happened, guess what happened? Those $8 trillion just disappeared into the ether without a trace, so to speak. So they claim, I should say. To this day, by the way, they still insist that they have no idea where $8+ trillion in the federal government's budget went. We have no clue. They still say that. And they still claim, oh, but we're definitely aggressively looking for it. No, you're not. Anybody with a brain cell that's half functional knows you're fucking lying through your teeth. Not true at all. You know exactly where that money went. It was into conducting 9/11. You fucking know that. Anybody with a half-functional brain cell fucking knows that fact. That there was no planes, they never existed, and it was a fucking government with the military having shut down very specific floors in exact pattern up the towers, turning away every single employee that was supposed to be working on those floors that day, telling them to their face that, oh, well, it's because there's electrical issues and we're repairing and replacing the electrical wiring in those floors, in your floor. So there's no work for you today. Go home. Military. Full fucking fatigues. Military helicopters, Blackhawks, dropping fucking detonation charges to those exact floors. And there is actually footage of that. They'll do everything they can to make sure it disappears. And I'm sure they already got rid of it since I saw that like 2 years ago on YouTube. I guarantee they fucking made that blacklisted immediately as soon as they got caught wind of it, because you don't fucking share truth. Truth is not allowed because you can't manipulate people with truth. You can piss them off. You can make them potentially do a violent revolution against you. But that's the only thing that can happen from truth. And they know that. Because truth, knowledge, is power. It's control. It's confidence. You don't like that. You can't tolerate that if you're a world leader, if you're somebody who's in control. So, of course, you're going to propagandize and you're going to lie. You're going to try to hide every factual piece of information and footage possible. And that's why you look at any high-rise and skyscraper-controlled demolition videos, and every last comment says, that seems weirdly familiar. I can't put my finger on it, though. They're referring to 9/11. Everybody fucking around the world is doing that, of every age. Why? Because even if they won't publicly or consciously allow themselves to believe it and admit it, subconsciously, inside, they know the truth. It's because it was a controlled demolition, and everyone fucking, literally everybody knows it. That's why you can't ever look at videos like that and not point out how identical and exactly identical it is to the Twin Towers. It's just a fact. It's because it was a false flag attack by the U.S. federal government and military on its people to fabricate war support against Iraq and Iran. That's the factual reality of the situation. I can't remember the point of why I was mentioning this. Uh, but yeah, it's just. But still, like, I know the different associations, the other things I've talked about, like, again, the supposed justification people are trying to use to defend Israel's genocide of Palestinians and ethnic cleansing, and their unprovoked attacks and bombings of other cities and capitals and other countries that did nothing to them, with just a basic claim. It's so fucking stupid. I digress. But this whole thing allows you to see people's true colors. It really does. And there's a lot of people, I'll leave it off with this. There's a lot of people right now that are insisting that you do not watch the footage of Charlie Kirk getting fucking murdered. You do not watch him getting shot. You do not watch any of the clips or videos relating to Iryna, because it's traumatizing. It is gory. It's fucking horrific. Yes, it is. But that's not a negative. That's a very big positive. Because if you are traumatized, if you are disgusted, if you are hurt, if you are angry, if you are disgusted, if you have any of those intense reactions and emotions, then and feelings, then it shows you have fucking compassion. It shows you have empathy. It shows you have at least a basic fucking level and understanding and rigidity level for morals and ethics, aka for what is good and bad, what is right and wrong. It shows you have that. It's your compassion, your empathy, and your moral compass that cause you to be traumatized, that cause you to be fucking gut wrenched, that cause you to bawl, that cause you to be sad, that cause you to be scared, that cause you to be traumatized. That cause you to react so intensely negatively to these things. You want to be haunted by them. You need to see these things. I believe people should be forced against their will to watch these fucking videos and these live feeds. I believe that sincerely about at every level, including the live feeds of fucking gory ass war. I really believe everyone should be forced to be traumatized, because it will force you to also recognize the people who do not have empathy, who do not have compassion, who are royally fucked up people, who are toxic, who are dangerous, who are negative, who are people that probably should be locked away and the key thrown away, because they're probably borderline psychopathic, if not fully, because they don't care. They're unaffected. If you aren't affected and you don't have the negative response, you don't have the trauma response, you don't have the that this is reprehensible feeling, you don't have the feeling of disgust or hurt or pain or sadness or empathy or compassion, if you don't have any of that after seeing shit like this, you absolutely deserve to be traumatized, so that you can spot the people who are borderline psychopathic, the people who are actually a fucking danger to society, who are actually a danger to you, themselves, and everyone around them, who are actually toxic, disgusting monsters. I wish there was a much stronger, more offensive word I could use than monsters. There doesn't seem to be one that exists that I can think of. And that really fucking, it kind of irritates me, because there needs to be something far more severe there. Because it is more severe. Far more severe. But that's why. Because that way, if you're traumatized, it means you have empathy and compassion. It means you have a moral fucking compass, and it has at least some rigidity. It means you actually fucking care. It means you actually do know the difference between right and wrong. That is why you get traumatized. That is why you feel so intensely negative towards people being fucking murdered in cold blood, no matter what the supposed justification or reason behind it was, the motivations of the killer was. It does not matter, because it proves you have a fucking soul. You have a fucking heart. You have fucking common sense. You have compassion and understanding. You have empathy. You have a good compass. That's what it fucking indicates to you. Just as much as you should be forced to be traumatized and see these things, because it shows you the real raw truth and without any ability to edit anything. It's all raw and right there in live time, exactly as it was and is, and always therefore will have been. So that you can never be lied to. Because that trauma means it's permanently embossed in your fucking memory bank in your brain. You're never going to forget that. Your body won't forget that. Your body keeps the fucking score. Great book, by the way. Seriously, it does. It's going to permanently impact your DNA. It's going to permanently leave an imprint in it. It literally alters it. It leaves imprints. As it should. Because it literally shows you that you have empathy and compassion. You have understanding. You have a moral compass. That it has some rigidity. And that you know between right and wrong. That you know what is defensible and what is not. What is okay and not okay. And you actually care about these people who have been senselessly fucking murdered, no matter this person's or other people's attempted justification for psychopathy, really, is what it ultimately is. And on top of that, the other benefit, like I said and indicated, right, is that it also shows you people's true colors, meaning you can actually tell the people who really care and the people who are probably psychopathic. The people who are actually dangerous, the people who are actually horrible, evil people that are cold, dark-hearted wretches, monsters in our society, in our midst. Because if they don't care, or if they celebrate it, or if they, whatever, they have positive feelings about it, they're monsters. They're horrific excuses for life forms, is what they are. And it proves it. It shows you that true color of everyone around you. So you know who to protect yourself and your family and your friends against, who to actively avoid and encourage others to avoid. Because look at how they responded to a senseless fucking killing. They celebrated it, or they felt positive emotions towards it, or they were neutral. They just did not give a fuck. And in those groups, they justify it, or attempt to, or make jokes about it, because they genuinely don't have any compassion, empathy, or care at all for anybody who gets devastated by such a senseless kill. Of course, there's always people are saying, oh, it's a human life, so of course it doesn't matter their politics or their opinions or their feelings, what they believe. I don't care how much I disagree with them. It's wrong. You're halfway there. You're halfway there. You almost had it. It's any life form. Any. It does not. The human aspect proves the human nature's innate arrogance and self-righteousness, self-aggrandization, because they only care about themselves, other humans, to appear better looking and more caring to other humans, when in reality, it's any living being. Doesn't matter if that Charlie Kirk was a human. If he was a dog, if he was a cat, if he was a fucking whale, it doesn't fucking matter what he is. He doesn't deserve to be fucking slaughtered like that. He doesn't deserve to be fucking murdered in cold blood. No living being deserves death. They just don't. And yes, by the way, some people are saying, well, death is an inevitability, therefore death is deserved, which doesn't make any logical sense, by the way. And that's their justification, by the way, for him being murdered, which is even more gut-wrenching. Like, I feel queasy every time I think of people who have been saying that, but there's quite a few. And it's like, that's not a justification. That's not a defense. That just shows how much more fucked up in the head you are, and how twisted your heart is, too. Because what the fuck is wrong with you if you think that somehow justifies it? And also how somehow you think it makes logical sense? That doesn't make sense. It's exactly the opposite, in fact. Because, yes, we are all living beings inevitably will croak at some point. No shit, Sherlock. That's the nature of life, is that death is a natural part of it. An expiration date is applied to every living being. It's inevitably going to happen. That doesn't somehow make it deserved that people are deserved to die because they inevitably will. There's no logic there. It's fucking insane. People are fucked up and weird. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And that's all I pretty much have to say at the moment. So, fucking goddamn.